So first of all, obviously every Kage is Kage level, which means by default this list includes Hashirama, Tobirama, Hiruzen, Minato, Tsunade, Kakashi, Naruto, the first 3 Kazekage, Gaara's dad, Rasa, Gaara himself, the first 4 Raikage, Darui, the first Tsuchikage, Mu, Onoki, Kuratsuchi, the first 3 Mizukage, Yagura, Mei, and Chojuro. Characters with similar power to any of the people listed here should also be Kage level, so to figure out who all that describes, I'll begin by compiling a list of characters who can be directly compared to any of the existing Kage. Madara was Hashirama's lifelong rival and regularly fought him during the Warring States period. When he was reanimated by Kabuto, he fought all 5 of the then present-day Kage and defeated them with ease, then later when he was properly brought back to life, he soundly beat both Hashirama and Tobirama. As the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, Obito fought the entire allied shinobi forces, including the first 4 Hokage at the same time. Before becoming the Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails, he fought the 4th Hokage one-on-one, and even though he lost pretty badly, Minato recognized that Obito was very dangerous. At the 5 Kage summit, he saved Sasuke from Inoki without even being detected, and later easily reacted to an attack from the Raikage. After Guy opens the 8th gate, Madara says he's the best taijutsu user he's ever seen, and the strongest person he's ever fought before, which makes him stronger than Hashirama. Orochimaru assassinated Rasa, and while he didn't kill Hiruzen, he essentially forced him to kill himself to protect the village. He could also summon and command the first 2 Hokage with the reanimation jutsu, who, while weaker than they would be at full power, were described as fighting at Hokage level by spectators. Orochimaru is also generally considered to be relative in power to the other 2 Sannin, including Tsunade, the 5th Hokage. He was also a candidate to become the 4th Hokage, and it's implied the only reason he didn't get the position was because Hiruzen wasn't happy with the sort of person he was, not because he wasn't powerful enough. Like Orochimaru, Jiraiya should be relative in power to Tsunade, and was also offered the position of Hokage on multiple occasions. With Yamato absorbed, Guruguru was able to make a wooden statue so dangerous that it forced Hiruzen and a bunch of other people accompanying him to stop in their tracks. During the 4th Great Ninja War, Sakura's power is directly compared to Tsunade's, and it's said that it might even exceed it. I know I'm putting him right after Sakura, but no, it has nothing to do with the fact that he fought her, okay? The reason Sasori's here is because he assassinated the 3rd Kazekage. Deidara fought and captured Gaara, and even though he won the fight through less than honest means, he still displayed a level of relativity to Gaara before he decided to bomb the village. Sasuke fought the Raikage on fairly even terms and then got stronger, like, way stronger. I don't really want to include Boruto stuff in this video, but for the sake of convenience, I'll make an exception here and say that Sasuke is also considered Naruto's equal in the Boruto era. B's power is considered similar to the 4th Raikage's, and the 2 of them do actually fight at one point. Neither of them are using their full power here, but base to base, B straight up overpowers him. B's the last character who I think is certainly Kage level based on direct scaling to the other Kage, but there are some other characters I want to go over who are debatably Kage level through direct scaling as well. The characters included in this batch range from almost definitely Kage level to possibly Kage level, but probably not. They're not ordered based on likelihood or anything like that, so I'll provide my own opinion with each character here. Kakuzu fought Hashirama at some point in the past, but according to the 3rd databook, lost the fight and almost died trying to escape. This isn't really indicative of anything, and even though he fought Naruto and Kakashi, 2 future Kage, it's debatable whether or not they were actually Kage level at this point, and Kakashi said he could have beaten Kakuzu if he had used the Mangekyo Sharingan, then Naruto actually did beat Kakuzu pretty much by himself. I'll talk about Kakuzu some more later, and for now I'll just conclude that if he is Kage level, it's definitely not because of any first-hand interactions he has with any of the Kage. The same way Madara was Hashirama's rival during the Warring States period, Izuna was Tobirama's rival. The databook claims the 2 had equal power, though Tobirama did eventually kill Izuna, so the 2 may have only been close in power, not outright equals. The only reason I consider him debatably Kage level rather than outright definitely Kage level is because it's unknown how strong Tobirama was during the Warring States period. He might not have been Kage level yet. Now, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's probably not true, but it's impossible to know for sure. Kinkaku and Ginkaku mostly get credit for 2 things. First, nearly killing Tobirama and potentially injuring the 2nd Raikage at a meeting between the 2 of them meant to establish a formal alliance between the Leaf and Cloud villages, and later actually killing Tobirama together with 18 other S-rank ninja. I don't think that these 2 things are particularly strong pieces of evidence though. First, it's unknown what if anything happened to the 2nd Raikage at the meeting between he and Tobirama, and even though it is impressive that Kinkaku and Ginkaku were able to come close to mortally wounding Tobirama, it's explicitly stated that they did this through a surprise attack, which means that Tobirama was off guard. Like I mentioned earlier, many people are also under the impression that they were part of the team that killed Tobirama, but I don't actually think they had anything to do with this. Tobirama was killed by a group of ninja named the Kinkaku unit, but this doesn't actually mean that Kinkaku and Ginkaku were part of the team. It could have, for example, been a team created to track down and kill Kinkaku and possibly Ginkaku as well, which is fairly likely since, as the 4th Raikage says, they're the worst criminals in the Cloud Village's history. It would be weird for criminals who supposedly tried to assassinate the 2nd Raikage to be a part of the Cloud Village's military. And what makes it even more unlikely that they were part of the team that killed Tobirama is that they're under the impression that he's the one who revived them with the reanimation jutsu. The strongest piece of evidence that supports these two being Kage level is something the 4th Raikage says about them, or more specifically says about Kinkaku, which is, hurry, if Kinkaku is transformed, we won't be able to stop him. It could be wrong, but I think what's more likely than that, at least, is that he may not be talking about he and Tsunade fighting Kinkaku. He could be using we to refer to the Allied Shinobi forces, specifically the members of the Allied Shinobi forces who are currently fighting Kinkaku. Personally, I think these guys probably are Kage level based on what's said about them. I think it's extremely likely, but I wouldn't blame anybody for being skeptical. A lot of characters seem to be under the impression that Fugaku should have been the 4th Hokage instead of Minato, but most if not all of these characters are members of the Uchiha clan, so their point of view may be a bit biased. If I take the anime filler into consideration, I think it's a lot more likely that he's Kage level since he has the Mangekyo Sharingan there and claims that he can even control the Nine Tails, but other than that, I think that there's very little actual evidence that he was Kage level. Danzo being in the debatable section might seem weird since he was actually offered the position of Hokage, but it was only a temporary thing. He didn't have his face carved into the side of the mountain or anything like that, and Tsunade was supposed to take the position back from him as soon as she recovered from the injury she sustained during Pain's assault. If Danzo had actually become the 6th Hokage, I'd have no choice but to consider him Kage level, but because of the nature of his promotion, I don't know exactly how to categorize him. Based on his fight with Sasuke, I think Danzo is weaker than all of the other present-day Kage, even Mei, who most people consider to be the weakest of the 5. Her lava-style jutsu was at least considered dangerous by Madara, meanwhile Danzo couldn't do anything to Sasuke Susanoo. The best way I can articulate how I feel is to say if Danzo had actually become the 6th Hokage, there would be more characters on this list as a result of Kage level being a lower bar to clear. Kabuto says that if Kimimaro hadn't been sick during and had been present for the assassination of the 3rd Hokage, the mission would have gone smoothly and Orochimaru wouldn't have lost his arms. There are multiple ways to interpret this, one way being that Kimimaro, without being weakened by his sickness, may have been around as strong as, if not stronger than, Hiruzen was. Obviously, that's not necessarily the case, but I'm not going to outright dismiss it. Zabuza did plan on assassinating the Mizukage at some point, but he never actually did it. In fact, the entire reason he had to go rogue was because he tried to do it and failed. Maybe the fact that he thought he could kill the Mizukage is indicative of him being Kage level, but I doubt it. Yugito was one of the Jinchuriki reanimated by Kabuto and made into one of Obito's 6 paths of pain. The 4th Mizukage Yagura was another one of them, and all 6 of the Jinchuriki seemed fairly close in power when they fought Naruto and Bee. It's hard to prove that she's actually as strong as Yagura using this fight, but if she is, she should be Kage level. Same thing as Yugito. Also the same thing as Yugito. Same thing as Yugito and the other Jinchuriki. Fu's the last of the 6 Jinchuriki that fought Naruto and Bee, and like them, she seems to be around as strong as Yagura. Next, I'll be listing characters who are Kage level through indirect or second-hand scaling, characters who have shown that they're as strong as or stronger than characters who have already proven to be Kage level. Basically, if they're relative to or stronger than any of the characters I've already talked about or any of the characters I'm about to talk about, they'll show up in this section of the list. Like before, I'll start with characters who I think are definitely Kage level, and I'll get into debatable cases afterwards. According to Sasuke, Kaguya is stronger than Madara, and she routinely displays that she's stronger than all 4 members of Team 7 and Obito. When Hagoromo meets Naruto and Sasuke, he says Madara is approaching his level of power, implying he hasn't quite reached it yet. Also, he and his brother created the moon at the end of their fight with Kaguya in the process of sealing her away. Even ignoring these 2 things, his reputation as the Sage of 6 Paths speaks for itself. Hamura should be comparable in power to Hagoromo, and even if he's not, he did help create the moon and beat Kaguya, so, you know. Toneri seemed confident that he could survive the Earth and the Moon crashing into each other, and he was also able to fight Naruto, who fought a much stronger version of Sasuke than the one that fought the Raikage. Pain killed Jiraiya and is almost definitely blatantly stronger than Deidara and Sasori. Hanzo slaughtered a whole platoon of Konoha ninja during the Second Great Ninja War and was so impressed that the only survivors, Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Tsunade, didn't die that he dubbed them the Sannin. It's fair to argue that the Sannin may not have been in their prime here and may not have even been Kage level when this fight happened, but years later, when Jiraiya infiltrates the Hidden Rain village and finds out that Hanzo's dead, he can't believe it. He considers it impossible for anyone to kill Hanzo on their own. I know this is weird, but Mifune just straight up beat Hanzo in a fight. He was so fast that Hanzo couldn't even weave seals against him, and when the two of them fought at some point in the past, Hanzo remarked that he couldn't make any mistakes while fighting Mifune. Again, I know it's weird, but this guy's just a monster, I guess. It's said that in Sakumo's time, the Sannin paled in comparison to him, and he shouldn't have died too long before Orochimaru was considered a viable candidate for the 4th Hokage. Orochimaru openly admits Itachi's stronger than him in part 1, and even though he says this after his arms have been sealed and he's become substantially weaker as a result, he also cites his inferiority to Itachi as the reason he left the Akatsuki. Orochimaru tried to steal Itachi's body quite some time after being considered a candidate for the 4th Hokage, so even if I use the least charitable interpretation of this statement possible, Itachi should be well above Kage level based on this interaction. After Kabuto revives him with the reanimation jutsu, Itachi shows that he's at least as strong as Sasuke, who at this point was way stronger than he was when he fought the Raikage. Deidara also seems to think Itachi's stronger than him, and this is practically confirmed when Obito reveals to Sasuke, who had already beaten Deidara in a one-on-one fight at this point, that Itachi could have won their fight if he'd actually been trying. Kisame beat Killer Bee and was able to fight and react to 7th Gate Guy, though it is possible to argue that these two examples don't prove he's Kage level. Bee spent most of the second half of his fight against Kisame focused on protecting two bystanders, and Kisame didn't actually beat Guy in their fight. Having said all that, at the beginning of his fight with Bee, Kisame was, while in base, able to clash with and arguably even overpower version 1 Cloak Bee. Sounds Kage level to me. Kabuto revived and summoned an army of ninja, many of whom were themselves Kage level. Even without his summons, once he's entered Sage mode, the least charitable I can be to him is to say that he's at least vaguely relative in power, speed, ninjutsu skill, and genjutsu skill to the strongest version of Itachi ever shown to the audience. That takes care of all of the concretely Kage level characters that I'm aware of, so now I'll move on to less clear-cut cases. Again, from here on out I'm getting into debatable territory, and the characters I'm about to mention are anywhere from almost absolutely 100% definitely Kage level to probably not Kage level, but worth mentioning for the sake of being thorough. Ashura's never actually shown fighting anybody, but he is able to use the same 3-headed, 6-armed avatar that Naruto uses in his fight against Sasuke, and also he received all of Hagoromo's power, so he should probably have power that's at least somewhat comparable to his dad's. The manga doesn't make it clear if Indra and Ashura were still equals after Ashura received all of Hagoromo's power, but the manga and the databooks do imply that Indra naturally inherited a lot of Hagoromo's power anyway. Conan damaged Obito in their fight and immediately earned his respect for doing so. It's made pretty clear he wasn't going all out when this happened though, so it's difficult to extrapolate how strong she is from this. It is worth mentioning that with prep time she was able to turn an entire body of water into 600 billion paper bombs, which is very impressive, almost certainly a Kage level feat. Hidan and Kakuzu fought Yugito together, and later fought Kakashi, but Hidan didn't beat Kakashi, and the bulk of the fight with Yugito isn't shown. It's reasonable to assume that Hidan beat Yugito with his Jashin ritual based on the aftermath of the fight, and since that bypasses durability completely, and because in what is shown of the fight, Yugito is straight up beating Hidan and Kakuzu, and because the two of them fought her together, and because she's only debatably Kage level to begin with, I don't think it's reasonable to claim that Hidan is Kage level based on any of this. The best argument in Hidan's favor is that most of the other members of the Akatsuki are Kage level, but he says himself that he's the weakest, so even this doesn't help him very much. I'll admit, maybe Kakuzu shouldn't be in the debatable section, maybe I just hate him, but like Hidan, he doesn't have any direct lines of scaling to any characters who are definitely Kage level, and everything I said about Hidan's fight with Yugito applies to him too. As I mentioned earlier in the video, Kakashi thought he could have killed Kakuzu with the Mangekyo Sharingan, and Naruto straight up blitzed him twice when they fought. Suigetsu was briefly able to contend with Killer Bee's 8-Tails transformation. He was also able to blow a hole in Guruguru's head. With her chains, Karin was able to blow up Guruguru's statue, but it's unclear if this was something she can do consistently. In this moment, she's definitely Kage level, but a lot of this strength seems to come from her desire to save Sasuke. Lee kicked Madara in half, but he was being amped by Naruto's 9-Tails chakra, so I don't know if it counts. Tenten effortlessly destroyed some of Kakuzu's hearts with the 6 paths tools left behind by Kinkaku and Ginkaku. Tenten's only in contention for Kage level when she's armed with these 6 paths tools though. Sai blitzed Deidara and Sasori, but he could have just been way stronger in this moment as a result of being really pissed off or something. If he is strong enough to do this regularly, then Sai is Kage level for sure, but this could just be an outlier. This guy is really weird. Aoba fought Kakuzu in hand-to-hand combat for a minute, and Kabuto seemed to think his presence was worth mentioning. Also, he's in better shape than B after both of them have about the same amount of chakra absorbed from them by Kisame, so I don't know, man. Shisui might have been stronger than Fugaku, and his Mangekyo Genjutsu was really strong, but he doesn't actually have any Kage-level feats, just hype and statements. Okay, so Kakuro definitely isn't actually Kage level, but he has Sasori's puppet body, and some people assume that he's as strong as Sasori with it, so I think it's a stretch, but I figured I had to put him here. Chiyo regularly fought Hanzo in his prime, but it's unclear if she fought him one-on-one or as part of a team. She and Tsunade were also rivals during the Second Great Ninja War, and when she met Kakashi, who she thought was Sakumo the White Fang, she immediately tried to kill him with her bare hands, without even using her puppets, implying she thought that even while holding back and even well past her prime, she was strong enough to kill him. Haku blitzed Kakashi during the Fourth Great Ninja War, and by this point Kakashi had been considered as a candidate for Tsunade's temporary Hokage replacement. Like a lot of other characters here, this could have been a mental amp thing, but it's not exactly an outlier since he did the same thing on the bridge in Part 1. He's also stronger than Zabuza, who, like I said, thought he could kill the Mizukage. Kitsuchi, yeah, this guy. I know most of you probably don't remember him. Anyway, Kitsuchi trapped the Geto Mazo between massive earth structures and straight up boxed with Kinkaku. Nagato thought Yahiko was strong, I guess. He probably wasn't Kage level, but Hanzo did kill him using underhanded tactics, so maybe he really was secretly a monster, who knows. Anyway, that's everybody, at least that I can think of. If I forgot anyone, feel free to yell at me in the comments. Also, feel free to subscribe if you want to. Don't worry about it if you don't. Thanks for watching the video all the way through to the end. Take care, as always, and have a fantastic day. Swag Kage out. Bye. So the Bluebird outro remix keeps getting copyright claimed randomly, so I'm just gonna avoid the headache with that and not use it anymore. But I don't want to gut the outro completely, so I'll pick a new song. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know in the comments.